Today on CityCast Philly, why Mayor Sherelle Parker defended her return to office policy and the lawsuit trying to block it. And the extreme heat this week, we've got ways to stay cool. Plus, the most Philly things we saw on social media. It's Friday, July 12th. I'm Trinae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Not sure if y'all noticed, but it's been hot, like really, really hot. This week, Axios Philadelphia reported that the Philly region was under an excessive heat warning. We climbed to temperatures up to 95 degrees. Mike Donofrio, reporter at Axios Philadelphia. Mike, how are you staying cool?
I'm staying inside in the air conditioning. I work remotely, so it's not that hard for me. But it's certainly hot out there. And I personally hate when the weather is the news, but here we are talking about it.
All right. Alex Hillman, co-founder of Indie Hall Clubhouse. Welcome to CityCast Philly. How are you staying cool?
You know, also trying my best to stay inside, but I'm coming bearing a pro tip. Within 24 hours, it felt like all of the AC systems in my car, in my home, and at the Indie Hall Clubhouse were just not able to keep up with the heat. And it turned out that all of them, their air filters were clogged and needed to be completely replaced or washed out. So if you've got an air conditioning unit in your car, in your home this week, if it's been having a hard time keeping up, get in there, find that air filter, pull it out, rinse it out, or replace it if you need to. As soon as I replaced the filter, I noticed it was like full of, looked like a squirrel had gotten in there. The outside had gotten into the filter. So folks, get out there, clean your air filters. It'll help, I promise.
That is a great tip. Another tip, I think, is simply hydrate, Make sure you're drinking water and lots of fluids. And also enjoy some sweet treats. I read that this week Rita's announced that they're going to be launching a new flavor and toppings. You ready for it? The Nerds Grape Ice and Rainbow Baby Nerds topping.
I love that.
I'm not going to knock it before I try it, but I don't know. This might be like too sweet. Like, I'm older now. Like, I'm not a kid, so like my teeth are different. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know about all this. It's like too much sugar. All right, let's get into some other news. It was an interesting week because a lot of city workers are anticipating Monday, which is July 15th, and that is going to be the day where everyone has to return to the office per Mayor Sherelle Parker's policy. This week, she held a press conference defending her decision for, staying with this policy, requiring all city workers to end remote work and come back full time, 5 days a week in person to work. Did you all get to see this press conference?
I did. I was not in person, but it was streamed. It was streamed on the city's Facebook page, right. So I did see it.
Yeah, I watched the replay as well, and I saw some, cut together clips. I saw the Inquirer had not just her remarks, but also some commentary from city employees and union leaders and things like that. So it's definitely an interesting conversation to observe.
Certainly.
Right. As of Thursday, the Inquirer reported that a Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas judge was considering a lawsuit seeking to block the policy. During Parker's remarks on Wednesday, she defended her position and she firmly made the point that she was not going to speak on the ongoing legal disputes. What I found interesting, too, within this conversation, this was something that the Inquirer reported that no other major U.S. city has adopted a policy requiring city workers to work in person 5 days a week. The Inquirer pointed out to New York City, actually, and that back in 2022, Mayor Eric Adams tried to implement a similar policy, but ultimately didn't see it through.
Personally, I was talking to some of my colleagues about this yesterday. I feel like Philly is a little behind. I feel like almost a year behind. So I feel like I remember hearing a lot of cities last year talking about this, wanting, businesses pulling people back, putting them back in the office. And Philly, under previous mayor Jim Kenney, he didn't institute any sort of policy like that. He let each department make their own decisions. So I feel like Philly's a little behind the eight ball here. But yeah, it didn't seem to work out for a lot of other cities. Although I think Mayor Parker did reference Washington D.C. as one that has brought people back.
Yes, she referenced some of Axios DC's reporting.
There we go. We're in DC, but I mean, let's be honest. This affects not that many people. I guess I should put it in perspective. It's the Parker administration is saying about 80% of the city's 26,000 some odd workers are already working in person. I mean, who are we talking about? Cops, guys and girls that pick up the trash,
yeah.
sanitation workers. Yes, the official name. Sorry, firefighters. Like all these people can't work from home. So these are like administrative workers, technical workers, things like that. Somewhere around like 5,000. Or at least that's the number that they're telling everybody. But I did see the news conference yesterday, and I was wondering what was going to happen. Is she, with the lawsuit, is she going to hold back? No, this was classic Parker, defiant, blunt, in your face, and sticking by what she has already decided. She basically aggressively was taking on the media and the unions who are attempting to kind of push this narrative that this return to work is unusual, that we're an outlier, that she can't do it. I mean, it depends, who you ask, the unions or the media, how they're covering. But this is kind of who Parker is. This is standard Parker.
Alex, I'm curious. Members of Indie Hall are freelancers, right?
Freelancers, but we have a lot of remote workers. Remote work has been the fastest growing segment of not just Indie Hall, but I think many co-working spaces around the world. And that was true before the pandemic. The pandemic only accelerated that path. So it's been interesting to watch this through the lens of, I've seen remote work not just as the recent trend that we're experiencing, but I've seen several cycles of employers trying to take it back or make these changes. And I've never seen it go super well.
Right.
I'm of a couple of minds here. One is that I really want Mayor Parker to do a good job because we need Mayor Parker to do a good job. We need her to succeed. But there was a line that stood out to me in the press conference that I can't get out of my head. It was something about the fact that she's at war with the status quo.
But I want you, Philadelphia, to know that when you're trying to do what I'm trying to do, which is change the status quo for our expectations here in the city of Philadelphia, when you're trying to lead and raise the quality and the delivery, change how we deliver city services in the city of Philadelphia, it can be a challenge, but I won't get weary.
Yeah, that stood out to me too. Mm-hmm.
And I get where that line comes from in like the bigger picture of how she sees the changes that she needs to make and that she's going to have folks that don't agree. And look, at the end of the day, she's not going to agree. I'm not going to agree with everything she chooses to do. I expect that. But it's weird. This is my first time of seeing a decision that I disagree with, that I have some like very, very firsthand expertise with this. And the idea that coming back to office is a fight against the status quo feels contradictory to me. The status quo is work is a single place and your boss tells you where to go. And it feels to me like there's an underlying missing component where there's sort of two reasons that I hear that are the most legitimate. One is sort of the equity angle, which is, like Mike said, the majority of the workforce is already wherever they're supposed to be. They're not working remote. And I get that. But the other side of it is I was under the impression from campaigning that Parker wants the best and the brightest. And when you've got folks who are good at what they do, and they don't need to be in a particular place to work, making them come in could be the deal breaker that keeps our city from having the best and brightest in those positions. And I feel like that's a loss for our city. So, I think there's a lot of ways to solve the problems that I think Parker does feel are the status quo, which is, teams struggling with culture and collaboration. And we hear these sort of reasons/excuses over and over. In my opinion, an experience, the answer is not making people come back into the office 5 days a week. It's creating other reasons and other experiences for that face time so that people can get to know each other, so that those relationships can be built. But I don't think that mandating people to come back into the office is what's best for the city, from the fact that it's going to limit who they can hire and who they can retain.
I think it's notable too that she doesn't care. Not maybe she doesn't care about limiting who's going to be there, but like she inherited a government that was like that was down, that had more than 6,000 vacancies, right? And
Right,
she's
right.
still pushing that she wants to pull these workers back. And I'll give her credit that this is her vision and she's sticking with it regardless of who tells her no. And it seems like she believes that if you don't want to work for the city of Philadelphia, then go somewhere else and they will hire somebody else.
All interesting points. If you did miss Mayor Parker's remarks this week around the return to office policy, you can actually watch the full press conference at facebook.com/City of Philadelphia. We'll have a link in the show notes. More news of the week after the break.
Want to know one of my favorite sounds? Here it is. That's the sound I hear when I'm learning Spanish with Babbel. And if you want to learn a new language this year, I guarantee it'll be one of your favorite sounds too. I'm David Plotz. I'm the CEO of CityCast, and I've been doing Babbel for a few weeks, and it's been so much fun. This week, I've been learning lots of food vocabulary and how to order in a restaurant. This is one of the things I love about Babbel, is that it's about learning the language so that you can use it. As Babbel says, it's designed by real people for real conversation. So it's all based on real life situations. And these restaurant lessons are awesome. When I went to Mexico City last year with my girlfriend, I was mute. I was a mute. But next time, I'm going to be ordering the sopes and las salsas picantes. Babbel has over 16 million subscriptions sold, plus all of Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. Here's a special limited-time deal for CityCast listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
All right, let's get back into some more news of the week. I want to talk about some of the most Philly things I saw on social media this week. We got to start with this Wawa Superfan. So Tyler G of the Jersey Shore, who also calls himself a Wawa connoisseur on X, formerly Twitter, posted that he collected the Wawa food order slips numbered 000 all the way through 999. And it took him years to do it. He posted a video showing the slips spread out. And as you can imagine, there were a lot of white paper slips. Have y'all seen this video?
I love this. I love this video. I love this story. I saw his original post on Twitter, and then I saw an interview with him. And, I think he said something like going to Wawa on average 4 times a day. He's got his standard orders. And it wasn't even from a personal challenge thing. It was more of this just seems fun to do.
Right. I read that too.
We need more of that energy in the world. I love it.
He called it a quirky quest. So the Inquirer had interviewed him, and Tyler says that it took him 3 years. He did get some help from friends. And this is what I thought was funny too. Quote, "Some crafty pulls from the basket where slips are usually discarded." I just don't think about the slips. I think about the food, my hoagie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think most people think about the food. I think that's a safe bet.
Do you get concerned do you make sure that they see you put the slip back?
Oh, I've never even thought about that.
Same.
Because in the beginnings, when it was the slip, well, actually, I don't know when the slips started, but it was you have to show your slip to get your food. But now I feel like it's such a thing where it's order 76. Here you go.
Yeah, I feel like Wawa in general has just become a little more lawless.
Yeah.
And so the we've escaped the necessary transaction of verifying that sandwich is actually mine.
Right. Speaking of Wawa, Mike, you reported that one of Philadelphia's oldest Wawa stores closed its doors this week in Port Richmond.
Yes. Unfortunately, one of the oldest Wawas in the city closed its doors after 45 years up in Port Richmond, up in the Northeast there.
Right.
I believe it closed on Tuesday. It was open that day, closed around 11. And, Wawa's saying that they can't deliver the experience that customers deserve there. Now, I used to live over in Kensington, but I can't remember if I've gone to that Wawa. So I'm not familiar with the experience, but that's at least what Wawa's saying. And to put in perspective, I know that there's been a lot of hoopla around like Wawa pulling out of the city and all these stores closing. This is the eighth store to close within the last few years, maybe since 2020. But just to put it in perspective, Wawa still runs 36 stores in Philly, and that's only 2 fewer than 2016. So it's not like, Wawa is fleeing the city. I see it just kind of as the ups and downs of store closings and things like that. So
I also, I chuckle at the idea that we couldn't provide the experience that we think our customers deserve. I've never really thought about Wawa through an experience lens. Like you said, I'm there for the sandwich, and I'm I might not be there sober. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know what? I think there is something to the Wawa experience, to be honest. Like, like where the coffee is going to be. Like, like where the cups, the coffee cups are going to be. Where, most Wawas I've been through, from Pennsylvania, Jersey, all the way down in Florida, they're pretty much the same, especially those stores. Well, then you got those stores that sell like beer and stuff. And then the stores that have the gas station attached. I like those types of stores. I've never been to one of the Wawa stores where everything is behind the counter. So it's like you have to kind of use the kiosk to even ask for gum and candy and stuff like that. I've never been to those. So I don't know, like, could they translate that Port Richmond Wawa to a,
What experience was missing?
I don't know.
I feel like they just need to have the same commitment that Tyler has to Wawa.
There you go.
Wawa needs the same commitment to Wawa that Tyler has to Wawa.
I think Wawa needs to give Tyler a job. I think he needs to be a spokesperson.
They actually tweeted. I think the CEO actually tweeted he tweeted.
I think you get my job now.
Yeah,
was the tweet.
yeah,
It was such a good business leader, public relations right there.
All right, another Philly thing I saw on the internet this week was the number 12 football poncho. This is some sports gear that is made by Bungee brand. It is a roomy green, and it says Philadelphia. It's like a sporty poncho that I saw on IG. And it made me think about, should I start looking for sports gear in this heat, even though, the fall and winter sports are coming up? Is it too early?
I don't know.
This is when you get the deals, Trinae.
I don't know.
Off season.
I don't know. For people that don't know what it looks like, yeah, it's a poncho. It's got a hood. I mean, personally, it looks like a Snuggie. It looks very much like a Snuggie, but you put it over your head. And personally, I think it kind of looks like something that Robin Hood would wear. Maybe it's like you're walking through Sherwood Forest. But I think it's okay. It's a statement piece for sure.
Yeah.
Right. I can't imagine many people are going to be buying this. But my thing about it is, I wonder if there are pockets. It's a poncho. I need pockets to carry things. So that would be my, I hope that maybe inside there's a pocket. But if there's not, I think, that's a major flaw.
It looks so comfortable, though.
It does.
Like, I would figure out pockets. Like, it could cover up your fanny pack. Cargo. It covers up your cargo shorts if those are out of fashion. Like, it looks so comfortable.
I wonder if it's waterproof, though.
It doesn't look waterproof to me.
Could I wear this in the snow?
Good question.
I don't know.
The thing that I love about it the most is that it is distinctly, like, it looks like Eagles gear, but it doesn't say Eagles on it. It's Philadelphia on it. Right. And as someone who, I love Philadelphia sports teams when Philadelphia is excited about Philly sports rather than when Philly is sad about Philly sports. And we all know that, it can go both ways. Mm-hmm. And so, like, this reminds me of, my wife knows that I generally don't wear branded stuff, but that meant that anytime we went to a baseball game or a football game or even go to a friend's house to watch a game, everyone's wearing their Phillies gear or their Eagles gear, and I just don't have any. And so for Christmas last year, she actually bought me a bunch of hoodies that were in like the color and style of our teams, but weren't actually sports gear, so to speak. Like, my favorite is this shirt that from a distance like screams Phillies. It's the red and white and all that stuff, but it just says Philly versus all U's. And I wear it all the time, and I get stopped on the street all the time. People love it. So like in the same way that sports gear, I think is just about as much about connecting with other fans, like having gear like this, I think is a great way to, it's like instantly symbolic and people want to talk to you about it. And I love that about it.
Yes. I love wearing Phillies branded gear too. And like you said, if you're in a different city and then someone will say, "Go Birds!"
It's the best. I love that feeling.
And shifting gears, earlier this week, the redesign of the state's license plates were announced. If you haven't seen the design, it spells out Pennsylvania across the top. There's a Liberty Bell in the middle. Your license plate, letters, numbers, whatever you decide, will go on top of that Liberty Bell image. And then at the bottom, it says, "Let freedom ring." What do you guys think about this new redesign?
So, all right.
I feel it already.
I feel like a hot take is coming.
Redesigns are hard.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I'm going to say what I like.
Okay.
I like the color scheme. I was never like, I grew to like the blue, yellow, and white band, the old plate. And like, I was never attached to it. I actually like the color scheme of the new one better. I think it'll grow. It looks kind of timeless. The thing that I don't like is the Liberty Bell.
Wow.
And it's not because I don't like the Liberty Bell. It's because I feel like it's really, really boring, like legacy iconography. I feel like you may as well like throw a cheesesteak on there. Come on. Like, part of me could say, oh, it's cool. There's a little nod to Philadelphia in our statewide license plate. But at the same time, I don't know. The Liberty Bell feels super generic to me. I don't know if there's something specific that I would want instead, but my first thought after I was like, oh, I like the colors, but a Liberty Bell? Really? So that's my hot take. Any iconography other than a Liberty Bell and a cheesesteak.
It's so interesting that you said that, yeah. Because the Liberty Bell is more specifically Philadelphia. So to have the Liberty Bell represent Pennsylvania.
Yeah, how does Pittsburgh feel about this?
Hey, I don't know, right? So then,
Nobody cares about Pittsburgh. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Delete that.
CityCast Pittsburgh, I did not say that. But, earlier this week, the team and I, we actually chatted about state symbols. And I feel like other states, usually nod to like the state bird or the state animal or the state flower or something like that. Now, I saw the tweet from Governor Josh Shapiro, and this whole plate is supposed to kind of help us celebrate the 250th anniversary of America. So I could understand then why maybe there's a Liberty Bell. But I feel like if this is the 250th anniversary, give me some more pop. Give me some more color.
Yes.
What are you looking for then? Throw out your ideas here.
Just so, like, for example, speaking of sports gear, the whole new Phillies jersey, that like blue, black, and yellow colored jerseys, so out there, but I like it. It's different. It like excites me.
It's bold.
But like, if you look at like Utah, I don't know, they have like bright color license plates. North Dakota, they have a license plate with a sunrise and a bison in the corner. I want that. I want something where you're driving on the highway. Oh my God, look, Pennsylvania. Like,
yeah, but is Pennsylvania a bright, sunny place sometimes? I feel like, we get snow, like Nevada. Let them do that. I think it's simple. It's got a nice minimalist design, right? One clear image. Let's be honest. Philadelphia is the center of gravity for Pennsylvania. Okay? That's a hot take. That's a fact. But, so we got the Liberty Bell symbolizing Philly. And then it's kind of like a nod to the Phillies, ring the bell.
okay. The Sixers also have a bell too that you can ring.
There we go. See, it's all these nods going there. And just for people to know, you can't get these until next year, by the way. And you can sign up on the DOT website, Department of Transportation's website, to get yours, or to sign up to get one. But I'm a fan. I like it. Because, you don't want to go all out with a license plate. It could just look like a mess.
I saw that they're extending this design to the state welcome signs as well, which I think the topography in particular, I really like it there. Again, it feels very inviting to me. And if I'm coming into the state and that kind of, again, like color and topography, I think that looks cool. Still not a fan of the Liberty Bell. I'm even looking at the old one we had. We're the Keystone State.
Yeah.
Most people may not even know what a keystone is, but I actually like the little keystone emblem. I think, again, when I think about what makes a redesign successful, I think there's sort of two schools of thought. One is complete departure, like the Phillies jersey example, where it's like completely different. And there's another version where it's you come up with something very different, but you have a tiny little nod to something from the previous design. And so I feel like, I don't know, maybe some combination of the new design, but maybe an updated version of the Keystone, or some kind of version where the Keystone, maybe there's like 5 different versions of the Keystone that either they're different colors or they've got something in the Keystone that you can pick from a theme or something along those lines. And maybe that would be a cool way to like highlight cities other than Philadelphia. Although I do like Philadelphia being in the spotlight, to be clear. So I don't know. I there's parts that I like, but I feel like the Liberty Bell as a symbol.
You're over it. Yeah, you're over
It's
it.
it's got to go. It's got to go.
I don't know. You're gonna get some hate mail on that one. I'm just saying. I'm gonna get hate mail for throwing shade at Pittsburgh, but you're gonna get hate mail for the Liberty. Have you been to the Liberty Bell? Maybe you just need to see the magnificent thing in person.
I used to walk by the Liberty Bell every day.
Okay.
It's a broken bell, man. We've got better stuff in this city.
All right, that was Alex Hillman, co-founder of Indie Hall Clubhouse, and Mike Donofrio, reporter at Axios Philadelphia. Thank you both so much for joining me on CityCast Philly.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you.
And make sure you check out the Indie Hall Clubhouse Book Club this summer. The group is meeting on Wednesday, July 17th at the Clubhouse. Make sure you register, and don't forget, it's a BYOK, bring your own book type of event, where you can join other fellow readers. There's a link in the show notes. It's time for the tip of the week, where we share a life hack for living in Philly. Tonight, SEPTA begins its annual trolley tunnel maintenance blitz. The subway surface trolleys for routes 10, 11, 13, 34, and 36 will not go through the tunnel from 13th to 40th Streets. Passengers will be picked up or dropped off at bus stops along diversion routes. The blitz is scheduled to start tonight at 10 p.m. all the way to 6 a.m. on Monday, July 29th. If you have a tip of the week, hey, we love to hear from you. Call or text us at 215-259-8170. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our producers are Abby Fritz and Lizzie Goldsmith. Our Hey Philly newsletter editor is Asha Prihar. And our host is me, Trenae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from All the Kimonos and James Weldon. If you enjoyed this week of episodes, tell a friend that's like really into Pennsylvania trivia and state symbols. Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Philly. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend and be safe, y'all. Bye.